Stand up, Vanguard! Today we're riding into Estacion from the Shiki Otei Start Deck from Cardfight Vanguard. This deck's objective: put enormous amounts of plant gauges to your blast token so it can massively boost the front row units. Let's look at the contents of this deck. First and foremost, your right deck consists of the Grade 0 Estacion, the Grade 1 Estacion, the Grade 2 Estacion, and last but not least, the Grade 3 Estacion, our main unit. Next up is our 50 card main deck. Consists of 3 copies of Grade 3 Estacion, 4 copies of Solitario Frio of Absolute Winter, 4 copies of Ignatia of Blazing Summer, 4 copies of Granorindo of Daybreak Autumn, 4 copies of Luz Diana of Sunny Spring, 1 copy dropped, and then 4 copies of the Sentinel card Hopeful Maiden Alejandra, 3 copies of Burrow Mushroom, and then here are the order cards: 4 copies of Vital Blaze Blast, 2 copies of the Blitz Order Ghost Chase, and 2 copies of the Blitz Order Secret Recipe Aqua Forces Exquisite Curry. Then our triggers lineup consists of 1 Stoichia Overtrigger, Source Dragon Deity of Blessings Blessed Favor, 4 copies of the critical trigger Peppery Pepper, 4 copies of the draw trigger Satisfying Harvest Rabirit, 3 copies of the front trigger Poetic Maiden Saphira, and then 4 copies of the heal trigger Cherry Support Elf. For your extra cards from this deck, you get 1 copy of Estacion's Blast token, 5 copies of the Plant token, and very crucial for any Vanguard game is the Energy Generator and the Energy Counter. These are the cards from this deck needed to build a winning strategy. First of all, we have the Grade 3 card. It's a normal unit, Solitario Frio of Absolute Winter, where it gets a +1 critical when you call it to the rear guard using an ability, either Estacion or Vital Blaze Blast, which we'll go through later on. And then it also acts as a defensive card from your hand or your rear guard. By discarding itself, it gets to give one of your blast units plus 10,000 power until end of that particular battle. And then next is the Granorindo of the Daybreak Autumn, where on call to the rearguard circle, you get to call a plant token to another rearguard circle. And it can also be superior called from the drop zone whenever you put a plant gauge onto your blast token. And then next is another normal unit, Luz Diana of Sunny Spring, which it can call a plant token when you pay a cost of 3 energy blast. It also acts as a 10k attacker or booster if you have at least 6 or more plant gauge on your blast token. Next, of course, is the blast token, where you can call it when you ride onto your Grade 2 Estacion. But here's its ability. Number 1, it gets to give your front row an additional plus 5,000 power for every 3 plant gauge on itself. Next, it gets to absorb or put 3 rearguard from your rearguard circle into its plant gauge, and you get to draw 1 card. And of course, it's ineffective or immune against any other attacks except for card abilities that target itself. That can be ventured later on as you get this deck. Next is the normal order card, Vital Blaze Blast. At the cost of 1 Soul Blast, and of course you can only activate it when your Vanguard is Estacion, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and superior call a unit card that's the same grade or less than your Vanguard. This is very helpful to filter out your deck. And then last but not least, Burrow Mushroom, which by putting this unit into the soul from the rear guard, you get to superior call 2 plant tokens. Turn 1, nothing much to do, but best discard Granorindo when riding into Grade 1 to set up a counterblast response next few turns, or any blast race cards. Turn 2, ride into Grade 2. This is where the Vanguard calls a blast token onto the back center column, and then it filters out the order card Vital Blaze Blast from the deck. Play it and then move it into the blast token's plant gauge, and then it uses its ability to call out Burrow Mushroom from the top 5 cards of your deck. Activate its ability to call up 2 new plant tokens, and then call either Luz Diana or Granorindo so you can call out another plant token. Use Blast Token's ability to absorb all 3 plant tokens, and then in return you get to draw 1 card. The Blast Token now has 4 plant gauges, and then proceed to the battle phase to attack and then end your turn. Turn 3. Ride into your Grade 3. If there's another Burrow Mushroom in hand, call it to generate 2 more plant tokens. Otherwise, filter or draw it up beforehand. If Los Diana is on the field, use its skill to call another plant token so that the Blast Token can absorb all of it to build up its plant gauge furthermore. There should be 7 plant gauges by now, and then activate Estacion's Counterblast to add another gauge, and then filter out another copy of Vital Blaze Blast, and then call it to Super Recall Solitario from the deck so it gets an extra critical. Finally, trigger Granorindo's skill to fill up the rearguard circle and then get ready for the battle phase. By now, the plant gauge count is 9, and the front row gets a plus 5000 power for every 3 plant gauges. Start off the battle with either an unboosted attack from Granorindo or Solitario, and then finally an attack with the Vanguard with a boost from the Blast Token. But it doesn't end there. Estacion has a second ability. By reducing 2 plant gauges, it can Super Recall a Blast Race unit from either your deck or your drop zone onto the rearguard. For this video, we're maxing out the number of attacks by calling Granorindo and call another plant token onto the front row. Perform the drive checks and then beat down with the rest of the units, and that is game. Should the game gets too intense defensively, this deck comes with defensive cards such as Ghost Chase to return the rearguard back to the hand, Ignacio turning himself into a 10k shield when placed on the Guardian Circle, and Exquisite Curry to build up a total of 30k shield by super recalling draw trigger cards from the drop zone onto the Guardian Circle. Do you have what it takes to manifest the power of Estacion's 4 seasons? Get the Shiki Otei Start Deck only from...